What the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes, here back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the amazing Yamaguchi powered by Revoltech Iron Spider. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with that sexy packaging, it's pretty much the same as usual. You got a whole lot of colors going on here that match the design of the figure. A lot of box art, as Revoltech usually does. And then, of course, all their logos. It says Figure Complex Amazing Yamaguchi, powered by Revoltech. We've got a cool image of Spider-Man posed up right there, or Iron Spider, rather. Sculpted by Yamaguchi Katsuhisa, so great job on this. We've got the window packaging where you can see the figure. It says Marvel right there. Also, if you guys see this band-aid on my hand, I did cut myself. I just want to say that because there's always people who ask, so instead of showing it, I just covered it up. But anyway, it does say Amazing Yamaguchi powered by Revoltech at the top, series number 23, Iron Spider. At the bottom, we've got this cool image of him right here, a couple of legal things no one really cares about. Nothing much going on the side, a couple images right here. Same thing on this side. This one actually looks cool. He's actually in motion, so I do dig that. Then, of course, on the back, you've got a bunch of poses you can get him into, the accessories, as well as more legal stuff. Now, me being who I am and absolutely loving art, I had to show off the inside of the packaging. You do get him right here dodging and shooting some webs. It looks like he's dodging some missiles right there, as you can see. This image on the middle is like the signature pose for, I guess, this particular version of Spider-Man. I've seen this so many times. And of course, Captain America's shield is supposed to be underneath him. I need to read this comic. I really do. But anyway, I'll get to that. But also, you got an image of him right here. And it's pretty funny because you got water right there that says Dasa. I don't know if they could get sued for that. Just act like we didn't see that. Now, the first thing I want to say about this figure straight out of the packaging is that it looks 110% comic accurate, and I think that's what most people are really going to enjoy about this figure. One thing I like is the sculpt work and the detail. It's absolutely superb. Revoltech knocked it out of the park. I've seen plenty of images of this version of Spider-Man. Even though I know nothing about it, I know that it looks exactly the way it's supposed to. I really love how you look at the figure and it looks red, but with certain light hitting it, it also looks like it's this orangish color as well. And I think it gives it more of that iron look by having that. I also love the sculpt work on the Spider logo, how it transitions over to the shoulder, the paint work for the gold all the way down. It's the same color. It didn't look like they hit it with any different colors in any different areas. The helmet looks nice. It's very plain, but it still looks really, really good. There's not a lot going on here at all. But with what they had to work with, I feel like they just killed it. It also looks like there's some shading in the figure. I can't really tell. Like, it looks like there's like a lighter orangish color right here, and then there's like a dark maroon right in here. And I don't know, once again, that could just be because of the way that the light's hitting it, but still, I think that makes it look nice. Now, the only things I don't like, and it's usually what I dislike about Revoltech figures most times, I don't like these right here. These little pieces at the shoulders. I don't feel like the articulation with those is effective enough that they are necessary. That's a personal nitpick. I know some people probably are fine with that. I don't care for them. The shoulders usually I don't care for, but I think they're hidden enough with this figure in comparison to most that it's not much of a problem. I could pose this guy around and completely ignore this ball joint right there. Now, one thing I can't ignore is this right here. This knee, I am not feeling. I don't know if this is accurate, if it's supposed to look like this when the knees are bent. You can move it back a tad, but it's not enough to really hide it. And that's sometimes an issue with Revoltech figures. You just can't hide the ugly articulation that they have sometimes. But I mean, it is there. It's something that's common with most of their figures, so it's to be expected. Now, I will say, most people aren't going to have this figure in a vanilla pose 90% of the time. That's not what Revoltech figures are for. But if you are just buying this to stand it on your shelf, it can look a little weird. Because if you look at him, the proportions kind of look weird around the midsection. Because he's got really buff arms, then he's super slim at the midsection, and then his legs are super thick. So it kind of looks like the proportions are off. He looks like a model or something, like an Instagram model. But still, Most people aren't going to have him in vanilla poses, so that's not even something you'll notice. But anyway, once again, figure looks good. Now let's go ahead and put him back and see how tall he stands. In terms of his height, he is pretty tall, but I think it's about standard for Revoltech figures. To the top of his head, he is right under 6.5 inches, so yeah, definitely pretty tall. Of course, I will be showing some size comparisons a little bit later, so we can see how he stacks up with other figures. Now, the first thing I want to say about this figure straight out of the package is that the joints on this guy are very, very tight. And so there's no looseness to this figure whatsoever, which is good. I feel like it's a step in the right direction because I did have a ton of issues with the My Hero Academia figures being loose. My Batman got loose over time, and so it does happen. But with this guy, so far, so good. He does look up very well. You do get this ugly piece right there that you can move, and it kind of fills in the gap that would normally be at the neck. So if you want to do Spider-Man dropping in poses, you can totally do that. He looks down even better. You get a ton of movement out of that neck. Man, that is crazy amount. So you can get pretty expressive with this guy. His arms go up and out about that much. You can hit a T-pose, no problem. There is a swivel in there. As far as the elbow, it's on a single joint, but you can bring that thing all the way in, as to be expected. Hands are on a hinge, and this is what that looks like. You can pretty much move it around, only being limited by the gauntlet. Now, bringing the arms in, this is exactly why I said I think these pieces aren't necessary. If you look, the way that these are designed, you can move the arms all the way in just using this right here. You don't need to use that shoulder. This guy can do Wakanda Forever better than Black Panther if you wanted him to. So you can totally get him in guarding poses, any kind of martial arts stance. I know Spider-Man doesn't really use martial arts, but whatever you want to, you can pretty much do with this guy. At the diaphragm, he leans forward about that much, which is awesome. He leans back only about that much, so not too much backwards, but that is where the lower part of the midsection comes in. You can use that to lean him back even more. So once again, you can get those dropping in Spidey poses, no problem. You do get swivel and all kind of movement there, and then you get the same amount right at the waist. That is awesome. He can kick forward about that much. He does have a built-in thigh swivel. As far as the knees, it's also single jointed, but once again, that single joint works. You can bring it all the way back, no problem. Doing the splits also is not a problem for this guy. It actually goes even higher up than it should, especially if you rotate it at the thigh. Let me fix that so that doesn't look weird. But yeah, you do get this piece at the knee that I mentioned earlier that kind of can move back. I still think that looks pretty ugly, but it does work a little bit to make the figure look a little bit more natural when you're posing him. You do get a swivel right there at the top of the boot. His foot goes down about that much, up about that much. It does leave a bit of a gap in there depending on how you pose it, so watch that. You do get ankle rocker, no problem. And then you also get a very stiff toe hinge, but it is there. So articulation wise, gotta give these guys a 10 out of 10. They never really miss on that. Now moving on to the accessories, he definitely comes with a fair share. First off, this is how he comes straight out of the package. You do have this normal head sculpt on him, as well as a pair of fists that do have holes in them. And so if you have any of your, I don't know, maybe your Mafex figures where they have that one web that curves and you can plug it into the hand and make it look like he's holding it, you can plug those in here and make it look like he's pulling some web or web swinging, whatever you want to do with it. But he also comes with a pair of wall crawling hands. You can tell just by the way that these are posed that they're for wall crawling. You get a pair of stylish pose hands, and the paint on these are all clean, by the way, as well. You can use these for like superhero landing, and then you get a pair of thwipping hands, which these are probably my favorite simply because I like how the pinky kind of comes in a bit, and it's not like the usual where both of the fingers are pointing out the exact same direction. That's pretty cool. You also get a pair of webs that are pretty sharp looking. Not literally, but they're sharp compared to like most of the webs we get with Spider-Man figures. And I like these. These are pretty cool. I'm sure there's something that's specific to this costume. And if you want, you plug them right into this small port right here. Let's see if I can do it. These hands are kind of slippery, by the way. I don't know. Maybe it's my hand. I don't know. But you pretty much just plug them into there, and that's how that works. So that's how you get him doing his web slinging / web shooting poses. You get this right here, which plugs onto his back. You actually get 2 of these. So if you want to attach 4 waldos, you can. These are the waldos, by the way. He comes with 4 of them. Now, from what I know, he uses 3 in the comics, which is kind of weird to me because, I mean, spiders have 8 limbs, so I don't know why he'd only use 3. But yeah, that is how it is in the comics. But I do love the fact that they did throw in a 4th one. And so what you do basically, you plug these right into the ports on the back, I'm assuming. Yeah, so that one goes right in there. But there's only 3 of them. So if you want to attach the 4th, like I will be doing, you use these. You actually get, I think, like 4 or 5 of these. And what you do is you plug them right into the middle of this somehow. There it goes. Yeah, it slides right in there. And then you attach it to this lower piece right here. I don't know why my hands are so slippery, but these are not wanting to go. And so that gives you 4 slots. And then basically what you do from here is you just plug in the extra waldos. And I'll show what that looks like right now. Now, I can't lie. These things look like Spider-Man in full defensive mode, and I'm all over it. But for whatever reason, they make me think of that monster that Godzilla fought in King of Monsters. I don't know why, but maybe it's just the gold and like the sharpness to them. I don't know, but it makes me think of that thing. But either way, I gotta say that Revoltech killed it with these. They don't feel flimsy at all. I'm gonna take off one of them just so you guys can see. These things articulate very well. There's like 4 of these joints right here in the middle, and so these things can move all around just fine, and that is awesome. And I love the fact that they gave you like 5 extra of these just in case you break one, but I don't think that you will because these things are pretty strong, so I don't think you have to worry about that. As long as you pay close attention to how you articulate it, you should have no issues with these at all. Now, another thing I want to show off, and before I do, I want to say this is not something that I came up with. This is something that I noticed from D Amazing's review, is you can actually split the waldos at the end, and you can create like this clamp for Spider-Man using these. So if you want to have like these picking up something or holding a bad guy, whatever you want to use them for, you can totally do that. And that is pretty awesome looking. Now, I will say, it is going to take one of these off. It would have been cool if they gave us like 2 or 3 extra of these end pieces right here, so you could do that with all of these. But still, once again, this is something he came up with, and I think that's pretty dope. Moving on to size comparisons, I do have quite a few things lined up. First off, here he is standing next to an SH Figuarts Avengers in-game Final Battle Edition Iron Man. I don't have any comic book Iron Man figures, so I figured this would be the only one I could show him off next to. We do have the Metacom or Mafex first release Spider-Man, which I think is still one of their best figures. And then, of course, we do have the Mafex Spider-Man Far From Home advanced suit as well. Next up, here he is standing next to a couple of the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Spider-Man figures. I'm not even going to try to remember the name of these costumes. I know one of them is the Velocity suit. I don't know the other one, but I do know that this is the original game suit, which is still probably my favorite Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure of all time. Here he is standing next to the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Kid Miles Morales by Sentinel, the Metacom or Mafex Adult Miles Morales, and since the movie's coming out pretty soon, here he is standing next to a Marvel Legends comic book Shang-Chi. Lastly, for some extras, here he is standing next to the McFarlane Toys 2-pack Red Hood, the Revoltech My Hero Academia All Might, and that height difference is crazy. Then, of course, we do have the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Foot Soldier. Now, for my final thoughts on this figure, I have to say, it's definitely not for me, but a lot of you guys might enjoy it. If you are a fan of this costume, if you're a fan of this comic run, or if you just want to increase the number of Spider-Man figures in your Spider collection, by all means, this guy's definitely for you. For me, I don't have any personal attachment to this costume. For one, because I never read the comics. 2, it's not that interesting of a look for me. And then 3, the first time I got my eyes set on Iron Spider, it was from the MCU. Now, I know, calm down. I know that is not the perfect iteration. I know it was probably done way incorrectly, but I like that costume a lot more than I like this one. And so I'm fine with the Iron Spider that I have that I cannot find. Otherwise, I would have shown him in this video. I need that one somewhere. I gotta find that thing. But yes, I don't really have any kind of personal attachment to this figure. Also, I'm not really a big fan of Revoltech, so that could be it also. If Mafex makes this figure, I will probably love it. The joints for this guy just don't do it for me. It's not that it's bad at all. This guy poses nicely. He looks nice. He comes with a ton of accessories. It's just not a figure that I need in my collection. Now, also for the people who are wondering if the Waldos do support him, here he is right here. As you can see, there's no stand. So if you do want to pose him in that signature pose, it should not be a problem for you to do at all. But overall, I think that you guys might enjoy this figure. Probably a lot more than I did. If not, I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That always helps me out. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And make sure to hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload new content. Lastly, follow me on everything you see listed in the description below to keep up with my activity outside of YouTube. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and stay safe wherever you are.